mute, right?
Yeah, we're live.
Sid, should be all set.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will you take roll, please?
Mrs. Leskowicz here, Mrs. Butler here, Mrs. Donahue here, Mrs. Kiplinger here. Right.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And approval of tonight's agenda. Can I get a motion to do that?
I'll move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Take roll, please.
So I'm gonna say Mr. Beef officially arrived at 5:31.
So close.
He is now present, okay. Mrs. Leskowicz?
Yes.
Mrs. Butler?
Yeah.
Mrs. Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. Beef?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiplinger?
Yes. Do we have public participation?
Oh. Yes, we do.
Okay, Ms. Julie?
Sorry. Okay, just a few things. I know you guys missed me, so I'm gonna make it for today. First of all, good evening. Yes. Okay, so just so you know, I'm watching. As predicted, after only a few months, the technology intern is now being hired into a new permanent position. This is about 25 new positions for the year, maybe give or take. The hiring has not been proportional to the growth of new students. Try not to build an empire. My second thing is about the income tax levy. I would please ask that you don't put on there as continuing, to leave it at 5 years for these reasons. Continuous takes away future voters' rights to vote, both those in the community now and those who move into the community in the future. So your kids and grandkids who may come back here, you will have taken away their right to vote. And as the saying goes, no taxation without representation. Also, please consider the future of the township. Many are leaving due to higher taxes, and our township is a special place to live, and we want to remain attractive to keep our residents and to keep our property values up. So my question to you is this: why not stick to the 5-year limit in order to keep the community behind you? There was no section up front in the draft next week's minutes for the public comments. I sent you an email.
Yeah, Shelley fixed that, so
Okay.
we're okay now.
And then giving a performance stipend to someone for doing their job, such as ending double bus routes, is not reasonable to me. Does it get paid back to the school when a double bus route is again needed? Shouldn't we have some reduced hours on the agenda for the drivers who are no longer driving the double routes? And by the way, I have no problem giving performance bonuses. In fact, I like anything based on merit. We have increased salaries exponentially, as evidenced by the huge increase in the 5-year forecast numbers for salaries as a percent of the budget. Let's give bonuses based on going above and beyond, not for just completing work that is part of the job. And as always, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. That's it.
That's the only one? Yeah.
So now we will review the agenda. Yep. Meeting. Right, so we'll go with the roll call for the legion, through the agenda. Jackie, excuse me, can you speak up? I'm sorry. Okay. Come from that way. And then pick up. Yeah. Maybe better. And then approval of the minutes, and then we'll go into public participation, if there is any, and then we'll start with the superintendent's report.
Thank you. So superintendent's report, like I said, I will explain these in more detail next week, but I wanted to thank the township for letting us get the salt from their facility. So Julie, if you can thank the other trustees as well, it's greatly appreciated. Yeah, the township offered to, we can get the salt from their facility instead of driving to Troy for. So,
Nice, thank you.
so
Thank you.
appreciate that. Dedicated school staffing is being implemented. It's underway to try to get rid of our substitute issues. Got a lot of people that we just don't have enough subs here. So, like I said, and then, the educational planning has started. We talked about, what it looks like with our physical constraints, with FMD, like you met them. We've talked with, and I've talked with them at length. They met with the entire staff. There's a survey that's gonna go out, to get some feedback from them. I'll send it to you too. And that will obviously bleed in the strategic plan. I'd like to get that thing rolling in January. So that's, then I met with, the brass at the Wright Pat Air Force Base for superintendent outreach meeting. So it was myself and all the superintendents in the area. We talked about impact aid, we talked about, ways that we could support each other. It was a pretty good meeting. I was there for a couple hours, and it was enlightening, and it was good to talk to, some of the other superintendents that do it, and that impact aid. I saw that form today, and the guy from Mad River has been doing it forever. He said he'd come over and help, over.
Oh, Chad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Chad, I got the form from Jerry, their treasurer, so he's been
Yeah.
helping me, yeah.
so, and that impact aid is just, there's something we can take advantage of, give more money back to the school.
Right, we're gonna send it out on the 13th.
Yep.
The survey, we're gonna do it early.
December
November
13th.
13th, we'll
Yep.
send the impact aid survey out, and then, if we get them all back, I hope by January 10th, then we can submit and see what happens, because it's due by the 31st, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure more things will happen before now and next Tuesday, but,
Yeah,
I
the
will,
plan is to submit for operating money as well as to see if they have any construction funds available, given our enrollment
And the
anticipation.
survey is due back on January 10th.
January 10th,
Okay.
yeah, after the holidays. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're going on the final forms? Okay.
No, not this year,
because
because,
these have to be on paper,
yeah, they have to be on paper. Federal government, just like, they
which is a little different.
still like taxes. So yeah, so it has to be on paper for right now. I'm planning to, and I've asked if we can get our electronic forms approved, and so they're working to get me scheduled for that. I gotta work with Jason in final forms.
Yeah, because the lady that presented here from the Air Force, Shatilla, is I mean, she opened my eyes to a lot of different things and then had me out to the superintendent. They've got a vast, resource that we could draw from. And we can help each other. So it was a good meeting. Impact Day was part of it, right? I mean, get those forms in, but I mean, there were many other things that they're willing to do and open to ideas. So it was good. There was a new colonel on the base, met him, seems to be pretty good, so that was a good meeting. So that's, an overview of the updates. Like I said, there'll be more, I'm sure. I'll go a little more depth in it next week. So we've got our student recognition. Tiffany Moore should be here. She was recognized as the commended student by the National Merit Scholar Program.
Oh, great.
Pretty impressive.
Mhm.
I never got one of those letters, but congratulations to her. So hopefully she can come and talk more about that. Important dates, you can see on here, we got the work day, winter break for MVCTC, us, teacher in service, third grading period, federal holiday. Are there any other dates you see that we're missing that you want me to add? Okay,
Just have to decide on the organizational meeting. Have we done that yet? Did I miss it? Oh,
it's on here.
okay, yeah, so next week, give some thought, has to be before the 15th.
Right now it's in draft, it's on the agenda too, but it's in draft is right now technically January 7th is the organizational and regular. Just has to be before the 15th, like Tina said, but stick with the Tuesday theme, that would be Tuesday.
Yeah, and then just do it in conjunction with the other meeting.
Right,
Right.
we do the organizational first and then we'll do the regular.
Okay.
Team,
Yep, and the treasurer's report.
Oh, okay, so treasurer's report, we'll go through the monthly reports as, have everything finished except, the nifty little presentation, so I'm working on that. We'll have the November check register for everybody's approval. It's out there, the amended certificate, where we're gonna make adjustments to the budget and the revenues. Actually, revenues are coming in higher, so that's always a good thing, and I'll go into detail about that next week. And then there's the second resolution for the tax budget, which is out there, and I just finished the tax budget this afternoon and loaded it as well. So you have a full week to look at it. I have a hard copy so I can go through and make sure I didn't miss any numbers, and so that's gonna be, it's out there in draft form for you to review now, but I'm gonna double check it before it goes live. So the tax budget will be finished and for your approval, so we'll be early and it'll go out. Huh?
Elam's name's on there.
Is Mr. Elam?
So is Mrs. Mansfield's name on
Which one?
the resolution. Page 3 of the resolution mentions Mrs. Mansfield.
Oh, no, I gotta get that on.
It says that she seconded it, right there. Mrs. Mansfield seconded.
There it
the
is.
motion.
Okay, so I thought, I didn't, yeah. So like I said, I was gonna go through that one more time, both of them, and I'll
Where's
make sure.
Danny's name at?
Yeah, I
On
didn't
the
see Danny's.
Voting.
Oh, on the voting.
On the-
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, on the voting, on the actual agenda,
Up front?
on the actual agenda.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I have it. Get up here, Tina. Okay. So I will get that fixed. Thank you.
There.
Here, yeah. He pointed right at it, so yeah, sorry, Mr. B.
No worries.
So, and then that's all I have for right now. So that'll be next week.
And then we'll go into recommendations for classified personnel.
Okay, yeah, so what's on here is Matthew Colbert, the technology assistant, step 0, 16.75 an hour. Currently, we've got Jason Cook as the director, and Austin Womack works middle school, high school, and Matt Reed does the elementary, who's just here. He's the one at the elementary. As we move forward, just so you know, Matt works every day here. Typically now, he just fills out timesheets because we have the work for him. I would also like Jason Cook to do less break fix and more global thinking about how technology can drive a curriculum. I'd like to get some more technology into the curriculum. So there's some things I want to like to move forward doing that. So that's why he's on there. He currently working with us now, just fill out timesheets, but I'd like him to stay. You approve it, not, okay. But that's why he's here. That's why he's on there. And like I said, I want to get Jason out of the you break, we fix mode, right? He's the tech director and I want him to globally think K-12, what does it look like? And what can we do? We got computer Wi-Fi doesn't work all the time. Computers go down. We got other things that are more important than him fixing a Chromebook. And sometimes that's what he does. And sometimes he does a lot of other things, but he gets drawn back into sometimes of that cycle fixing, and it's not, Matt's got 1,000 kids at the elementary by himself, it's a lot of people. So, they got Raptor machines and things go down and things break. So, any questions on that? Be willing to answer them, but if I look back at you look back at Jason and when he did his technology update, I mean, there's some bigger picture items there. If we go into the strategic plan, we're only going to get more kids, so that's the recommendation. So,
Can you just remind me, what's the department look like today currently?
3 people, Jason Cook, Austin Womack, and Matt Reed.
Okay, he's
Yes.
one of the 3.
The one that's on there is,
There's a
he
new
currently works as,
This is a new.
This
map?
will be a different, another map.
Another map.
there'd be another
Yeah,
Matthew, yeah.
Sorry.
Matt Reed was here, Matthew's the one that
Okay,
works daily. It's I think it's similar to our daily subs, right? We've got subs in the building that are daily subs because there's always somebody absent that we pay for every day. And we're paying him now, we just want to keep him, so does a nice job, but that's what it looks like now. There's 3 now, there'd be 4 with him.
okay, thanks. I apologize. I had to ask again because that's when the one left earlier this year, I kind of lost track of. I lost sight of,
It was-
what that.
We had a little turnover at places, yeah.
And then is Jason responsible for supervising them? Is
Oh,
he-
yeah.
is
He's in charge of
supervising
all
them
of
too, and then he does all that?
Yeah, he'll take care of all that. That's his job, among other things. I mean, he was on a call, like Jason was on a call with me with Bricata, we were looking at some security systems, right? He's on a call with me on what they call rooms, which is part of Apogee. You know, I want Jason on those things because it doesn't make sense to buy things if my tech director says it won't work. You know, what I mean, that,
Right.
so you need to, yeah, that's a great idea, but can we implement? I mean, I don't know. So I need him on those calls. I need him to think like that instead of like, I can't come right now. I gotta sign out the owner
So we can
computer.
log in.
So
Great.
What'd you say Matthew's current position is?
he's
Sub?
currently right now, he's a tech assistant job,
Okay.
but he just filled out timesheets. Because he's working for us in a sub role. He just filled
A
out.
sub, okay.
Yeah, he's a sub. He's not our employee per
But
se.
he was an intern.
Was an intern at one point. Yeah, now he's not, yeah. Now we just kept him on as a sub. Like a sub teacher.
So there would be no need for a sub technology.
Correct. If he
Afterwards.
hired, we wouldn't. So. Good. Okay. Unpaid leave. We've got a bus driver, and an assistant to the treasurer. We have one more coming. It'll be on next week's agenda for unpaid leave. I'm waiting for her. She's going to have to verify with your office or personally your time. It's the interpreter from the elementary.
Oh, yes. Mhm.
She's going to take.
Shelley told me about her
Yeah.
today. I told her to send it to me.
You
Yeah.
just need to figure out how much leave she has and then what's unpaid.
Mhm.
These are the three so far. Resignations, we've got our English language support specialist has quit. Sevda, she worked a few days and then decided she didn't want to work here anymore. So she's resigned. So we're still looking for another one of those. And then that is it me on the Google consent agenda. We go to my recommendations, certified personnel. Looking to hire Kate, so Kate Brooks is a substitute teacher. We've done this before with Mindy's. This is the same thing for your student teacher, hired her as a summer.
Yes,
So worked out well.
yes.
So we've got one in a high school and she wants to sub. She has her certificate and everything. It's quality sub and, they work when they can, when they're not in class.
Yeah.
They know the school, they know the kids, so that part's good. Leave without pay, again, Tara McCormick, she's got 4 days and 1 day, 4 in January and 1 in February. Substitute teacher list, that's the same, it's dwindling. I think we're down to like 112 people.
I mean, it used to be like 17 pages long. And
Yeah.
I'm not
Now it's like 3
exaggerating.
front and back.
I know.
It's dwindling. So, and then approval of consent agenda for certified. And then business, we've got parent transport reimbursement agreement, so that is on there, we've got a student that they drive every day to school because we can't transport them. So there's a lot of physical restraints, so we do that, they do that, and we pay them. And then the performance stipend, which was discussed earlier, like I said, this was Jacob Wilhite, and it was for me, this performance goal eliminating double routing. It's in his contract initially when he was hired. If you remember, he came from Reynoldsburg, he took a pay cut to come here, he wanted to be here, he wanted out of Reynoldsburg, he lives closer to here. Just to highlight some of the transportation, limited double routing, he had to assess a number of conditions and currently on buses in the district when he got here. We had several units sitting out back. Remember, those are the ones we sold. They were tagged by the state of Ohio Highway Patrol as inoperable and out of service. We moved forward with staffing to remove some of these routes. We also didn't have enough buses to even staff drivers to eliminate. So that there were a lot of things that he did behind the scenes. He calculated the routes. He said, okay, well, we don't, even if we had drivers, we don't have enough buses to make the routes. So we had 0 sub buses. So when a bus would break down, they sat till we got everybody dropped off and then back. He was ordered, if they evacuate or, they get in an accident, things like that. So in order to safely transport, the state of Ohio recommends that each school district operating transportation department have access to a spare bus. we've got routing software now, and that is 75% of the drivers are using it. We should have all that implemented and uploaded by the end of school year. So when they start. They should
End
have
of the school year or into this calendar year?
school. Yeah, they should be able to use it before they leave to make sure it works. And we should be able to use it full time, start of year.
But not everybody's using it currently.
We have 75% of our bus drivers using it. They'll all start to use it, but it's just uploading all the information. Get in and use it. It's
Have we
pretty
got
neat.
any feedback on it?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to them after school, or not when after school, but when middle school, high school gets out. And they seem to like it. I mean, it's new.
Right.
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, should save us time next year.
And it is gonna be mandatory that they all use it.
Oh, they're going to use it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This, them learning that.
Okay.
They'll use it. I'm like, your job.
Right, exactly.
So I agree. So that's why that's there. And then approval of the consent agenda for business items. And then we got to be what they facilities committee. Natalie, we having a facilities committee meeting next week. Figured I'd ask you now instead of calling you next week. Go ahead,
Be
Natalie.
later
Point.
this week, but
What's that?
I said it would probably be later this week, we'd be talking to each other.
Right.
We can,
I mean, it's up to you. I just didn't know. I thought I'd ask since we were here.
tell me again, have you met again with the FMD group?
We have, and I think, want to hear a suggestion?
Sure.
Okay. So,
Yes.
give my 2 cents or what I wanted. Because sometimes that happens too. I would say we've met with them, and I would think you guys get a link to the survey. And I would think that when they come back out, I think a good, not this Tuesday, but I think like in January, a good facilities committee meeting would have them come down and possibly, maybe the developers, some other people involved in that meeting, big picture.
Mhm.
Athletics, buildings and grounds, things like that. That's my suggestion, but. Because they could come to like the January meeting, and explain what they've got so far. It's an idea.
Will they have enough information?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah,
think
they,
they'd be ready.
they met with the staff, they met with all 3 buildings, and then they'll have the information from the survey. So. It's an idea, it's more February. Like I said, this is more, this isn't detailed specifics, this is more about. You general, what do you want, what can we do, where we're at, next step. It'll bleed into like the strategic plan.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want one next week, or you want to wait,
And that
or you can think
is-
about it.
Yeah. I think tentatively that's January 17th, correct? I think is the date for that. I think we said,
7th, well, we're gonna have the meeting, we gotta have the meeting for the 15th.
Right,
15th.
first Tuesday in January is the 7th, and second
next would be
Tuesday is
14th.
14th. We usually do it all in one day, right? We do the organizational meeting and then immediately go, afterwards, we go into the regular meeting.
Yeah.
So if the board wants to continue that, I guess we tentatively suggested January
Yes,
7th.
That's true. Well, yeah, so. But that would be the regular meeting for January, not like the workshop meeting,
Right.
Yeah.
right? So we
Right,
would want to
correct.
have a facilities meeting ahead of that.
Right, no, I
So
mean, you
maybe
kick it
we
to
could,
February, first work session in February. That could be
Yeah.
a topic,
So if we continue with the
Tuesday.
first Tuesday and second Tuesday, or second
Second and
Tuesday
third.
and third,
We do second and third, right?
right?
Sure.
So it would be February 11th.
Well, I can hold for today and I'll get back
Sure.
to you by like Thursday. Please.
We'll talk about
Thanks.
dates too, right? Monday, when we get to the.
Yeah.
I like the Tuesdays. I'm used to it now. When I don't spend Tuesday nights here, I don't know what to do with myself. So,
Wander
I
aimlessly.
wander aimlessly around.
Yeah.
I like Tuesday nights here. So. And then liaison reports, and then number 10. Preparation. For the organization.
So do we say that we think we'll be on the 7th of January or the 14th? If we stick with the
Yes.
January 7th is township,
77 is what?
a township meeting.
Right,
Yeah, it
that's
has to
what
be
I'm
the-
saying,
it should
'cause
be the
normally we do
second.
Second and third, so the second Tuesday would be the 14th.
14.
So we wouldn't do it on the 7th, we do it on the 14th.
Well, that, yeah,
You
if
could do
that's
that.
what you wanna, yeah. you
Just
could
has to
do-
be before. the
Has to
15th.
be before the 15th.
I was gonna say,
right?
the 14th
That
is
is a
before the
statute,
15th.
yeah, so the 14th before the 15th.
If it's a
so-
snowstorm, get on your,
Yeah.
get on your snowshoes and get here.
We'll be here, yeah.
Be here.
Yeah.
Be
so-
here. I'll come get you.
So, but yeah,
Do you have to file anything that says we've had our meeting? Is there anything you have to follow up and do?
No, but we
No.
gotta get the second resolution for the income tax.
tax passed, yeah,
And it's gotta be filed by the 24th.
24th, yeah.
So we need to have that meeting.
So are you saying that to be on the safe side, we should have it on the 7th, or we can?
I think we'll be okay.
Okay,
think we'll
so
get-
I
dig
vote
out-
for the 14th.
We can dig out by 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, so next week, if you wanna do the 14th, we just finish that and we'll move on, yeah.
It's like living on the edge.
Wanna live on the edge? All right.
I got my adrenaline rush.
Well, that'll do it.
Before the deadline.
That'll do it.
Thanks, Reagan, I'll get there.
Procrastinate.
Don't need any more adrenaline rushes.
Surge of adrenaline, like you're gonna miss your baby.
Yeah, yes, we did it.
We did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so then the only other thing is nominating the president pro tem.
yeah, so like somebody has, I think Natalie, you did it last year.
I do.
So, you need to pick the president pro tem for the organization. Then at the meeting, you guys will vote as president, vice president.
Usually the outgoing president does it, but our outgoing president was voted out of office last time, so Natalie took over the reins for us, so, but just food for thought. You guys can nominate whomever you want. They just have to start the meeting and then whomever is elected president takes over.
Right.
I mean, I
Pinch
can
hitter.
do it again. if you want. Or if Jackie wants to do it again.
So, something to think about for
Okay, for next
Yeah, you
week.
decide.
next week.
Yeah, next week we decide, but that's what it is. This, like I said, it's a temporary position. Usually.
Okay.
So,
And then,
That's it.
This reading, that's just-
that's it. Yeah, that's it for them.
the only other thing that might be added or needs to be added, is the income tax, right?
Well, yeah, we need to talk about,
Vote.
well, the income tax is obviously going to be on that meeting.
It has
right?
to be that meeting.
It's going to be on that meeting. The question is, the income tax discussion, if you go back to the work session, item 5. Final decision on length of time for income tax renewal for the 2025 ballot. We've got, you have resolution 1 that needs passed next week.
Next week, yeah,
Resolution 2 needs to be passed in January,
right.
and it needs to be filed by the 24th of January.
So the only thing I need to know in order to get the final resolution, to get the resolution started is are we doing 5 years, 7 years, 10, 15, 20?
Who wants to start with the discussion?
But
want me
what
to
I
go
did
first?
do, but what I did do is I reached out to the state, because they have to give us the amounts. And I highlighted here, earned income is 2.4 million and some change. But what's interesting is the millage necessary to raise that is 11.77. So if we didn't pass an income tax levy for 0.75% on earned income only, it would be, we would then have to ask, the only other option for us would be to ask for an 11.77 property tax levy. And I know Miamisburg was successful in a double-digit property level recently, like within the last couple of years. Historically, that is not the case, right? Most people will say no to that. So, yeah. And this is the 0.75% is the lowest in Miami County. Everybody else is at least 1.25, 1.5, so we're still, leading the pack as far as being the lowest as far as taxing the community. So those are my 2 cents.
So, you all mind?
Mhm.
So, in my opinion, somebody's been doing this for a long time when it comes to levies. From what I've heard at these board meetings, and from what I've heard, when I've talked to people in Carriage Trails, when I've talked to people in the township, talked to people at Rotary, I don't see a pathway to a continuous earned income tax levy. My opinion. I think, you know, a couple of things, food for thought. I look at it like this. I mean, I've heard what people have said. I heard what Julie said. I heard what they said last month. You know, I've heard all that. I hear that when I'm out and I ask the question, you know, I said, when I go to the places, I ask them, I go, what do you think? And it's not that they're strictly necessarily opposed, but you know, I think, you know, you've got 2 shots at this. I don't want to go into November not having it passed. That's scary to me. And that's, you know, you're talking $2.83 million that we have 1 shot to get, right? And I think we put our best foot forward. We ask for a 5-year, everybody gets to keep their little bit of control over it. But at the same time, it's still for 5 years. If we do a good job, I don't see why they won't renew it again. People moving into the district will still pay for those 5 years. And you know, I've been places, you know, I'm from a place where they Columbus annexed property, right? And it's been going on for 40th year now, you know, and they took land from Columbus, Dublin took it, Worthington took it, Hilliard took it. They all took that and they took it and everything's been fine. And they made it, you know, every year, every 5 years where they vote on it, whatever, you know, now it's a solid wall, but I'm just saying, I just think that, you know, if we do a good job and if you move in, you come to Bethel because you love the schools or you got a nice house and a good property, and I think, you know, I could show you 1,000 places that property value tanked when the school tanked. So I think, you know, there's a concerted effort there to support the school system, even if you don't have kids in the district, because it keeps your property value, you know, higher. So obviously it's your call. I'm just giving you the feedback that I've asked people to reach out to me. They've called me, they've lived in all parts of Bethel. But the consensus was 5. So.
Did you ask about 7?
You know what I don't like about this is my personal feeling on 7. People don't know I never see a 7-year
7, yeah. Is
levy,
off.
and I think it scares the heck out of people because it's different,
Mhm.
and people don't like different sometimes. So I
People
see
usually 5,
reasons.
10, yeah.
Yeah, 5, 10. I mean, 10's a long time.
10's a long time.
You get
yeah.
to 10, you start to get the same argument that, you know, you're gonna sign for me for a decade, I can't make a decision. You know, and if I look at the one that failed was continuous, right?
Correct.
But, I mean, it was close. You know, and I think if you say it's 5-year, I would hope that it would pass. I mean, we've done some good things here, we've got some good momentum, but I would hope it would pass and no increase and give us 5 more years, get things organized. But that's 7 and 10, I mean, and continue, look, I've been in a place where you have continuous levies, I mean, I get it, it makes sense. But, you know, you also have to explain, you know, a lot of times earned income tax is a little different than, you know, property value, you know, the real estate piece, because it's flat lines, but this one goes up and people make more money. So, you know, it's like, I mean, it's tough, but I understand that continuous makes it easier to plan. That's for sure. And it makes sure that everybody that does move into the district pays their share. Those all make sense to me. I'm just telling you, in this area, the feedback I got was 5. So. I'll campaign anything you want me to, but I'll do that just because it's part of my job. I want to, because we need it. But, you know, it's a lot of late nights and a lot of weekends and things like that, but it is what it is. But that's all I got. I mean, you all live here. You hear what you hear. I mean, you tell me. I know it makes sense, but I'm just saying what we think we can pass and what's fair to the people that are living here.
Yeah, and I know all the residents now support us and would continue to support us, and we probably wouldn't even have this conversation if it wasn't for the Care Trails 2.0. And that's the only reason that I was pushing for continuing is because then you are into the unknown, and we are going to get more and more expenses as they come along and then they're going to make up 3/4 of the district.
Yeah, they do.
And so, yeah, and so then we will, so if we're saying like our township people and stuff are against it and everything, they won't really have much of a say at that point anyways, because they'll be drowned out by all the new people coming in. So I think that, like you said, the change, that's where I get wrapped up in, that this is different. This isn't typical. If we were status quo right now, if we were at the tail end of Curious Trails 1.1 and nobody else was coming in, it wouldn't, I don't even think it'd be a conversation. Just keep on keeping on. But I think that's my only reservation about the continue is to get it when they come in, and then they come in knowing that that is a tax that they're going to have to pay. And like you said, like when we start doing all the strat planning and stuff, I think that there's big potential here to do lots of good things, like a drone program, the make the podcast into a class.
You need to change your curriculum here. I mean, we don't need to
Yes.
do the curriculum from the 50s and 60s and
Right.
70s, right? I
The
mean,
rote memorization.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I want Jason to think differently. That's why I want the staff to think differently. That's why I want, not that those things are bad, but what do kids need? What are they interested in? What do they need to work? What makes them tick? What's a productive job in society?
Right.
And it's different than it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
Different than it was 20 years ago.
I mean, we're only a year out from the middle schoolers having 2 study halls during the
See,
day.
that can't happen. I mean, it's like, that's what I'm saying about the curriculum. We got kids that are seniors that don't have any classes. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
Mhm.
doesn't
That's
need
the
to be
point.
that way.
Right, yeah.
And I've got a kid that never went to college and makes more money than my nurse daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
And they went to school and works for a podcasting company.
Mhm. And we cater, or not cater, but we recognize the CCP, so we've got kids that are given that opportunity to get their college credits early. Then we've got the CTC that recognizes the kids who may want a skilled trade and stuff like that. But then we have the other third that can't get into the CTC and have no desire to go to high school, and that's where we can pick up some of those kids too.
Well,
with these
You can look at
programs.
trades programs.
Yeah,
things
we
like
need
that.
to look at creating a CD 26 and offering in-house
Right,
career tech.
and partnering with
Which you
that.
guys don't have, which I've never been in a district where there's not been a CTE 26, have you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so that is something, I talked to Matt about, but have never really sat and talked to Mike about. There's additional funding for that, there's, and you need to offer those in-house.
But, I just
Because
think
the
we need to rethink
CTC is
Right.
packed, yeah, so.
But you also need space.
Yes,
for those
we
and
do.
teachers
Right,
and all
and
those
as
things that go
we
along
do
with that.
that planning and.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's, I mean, we have limitations to
Mhm.
certain things, right? And are there ways to overcome them? Sure. You have to think outside the box, sure. You have to get funding from certain people, sure.
Mhm.
I mean, there's ways to do that. I mean, and I've had several people, let's say several, I mean 3, come to me and say they really would like to talk about some large donations for, a specific project, or, I mean, okay, let's have that discussion, but I think, you really have to look at it's an exciting time, but it's a scary time, right? You've got all these things that you want to do, and there's a few things we need to do. And there's some things you want to do, and how does it all fit in, and, how are you cost effective, but still providing what's good for kids, and, safety, security, and all those things. It's a different time than it was 10, 20 years ago too. So, yeah, I mean, with that being said, I think that, a lot of these moves and these discussions are, essentially drive curriculum. I think we've got some stability here now. I think we got, you can't make curricular changes and staff changes and push the needle if you've got to deal with all the chaos.
Absolutely.
I think we're there now. Hopefully, I think, people know that we're doing our best and doing a good job, but I think moving forward, what we do now is ultimately about kids and driving curriculum. Well, what do you need for that? Well, you need good staff. You need people that work hard. You need people that are diligent, that care. you know, and you need facilities. So. I mean, we had a basketball game here the other night, I think with New Carlisle, and it was packed.
Mhm.
4-0, but that's good.
Yeah.
But,
Boys remember that.
yeah, so that, Northridge will be the test. They play Northridge, so it should be separate and over going into that. But, I mean, I think that's, you know, ultimately what it's about. Obviously.
So when they say that, so I'm just trying to wrap my mind around when they don't have the right to vote. Are they just, I mean, do they just want to control the purse strings? Is that what they're,
Are you asking me?
yeah,
So
I'm
this-
just trying to understand.
This is what I
that
would
part.
say by, I don't think it's the Boston Tea Party. But, I mean, I think what they're getting at, when people say that to me, I think what they're saying is, you know, I'm gonna bet on you for 5 years. But you know what, I won't bet on you forever. But if you show me you do a good job, I'll bet on you again. I mean, I think that's what they mean. It's not like we're taking away their voice, or, I mean, people come here and talk all the time, right? I got a nice voicemail the other day, so I wasn't happy with it. You know, it's like, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I think what they're saying is that I'm just not comfortable saying forever. You know, and then. And they just, you know, when they say they're taking their voice away, I just mean they don't get the right to vote every 5 years. But I think it's that, right? It's like, I'm gonna bet on you once. You help me, you showed me I didn't make the right bet. I'll bet on you again. Maybe I'll support you. And every 5 years, you know, it's an interview. Every day is an interview.
And I guess that's where I'm at is, if you don't like the job I'm doing, just don't hire me back. Just don't vote for me. And you get to vote for us every 2 years.
But on the levy side, if you do that continuous, they never get to vote again. I think that's what they're getting at. I mean, boards of ed, yeah, you guys, your term every
Right.
2 years, but you know, you got a 4-year term. And if the community doesn't like it, that's what happens, right? It's in politics. It happens everywhere. If people don't like something, they vote you
Right.
out. I mean,
Just saw that.
that's government, you know, I think, but if they do like what you do, they vote you, keep you in if you still want to run. I think that is, yeah, they can make choices. I think their argument here is, well, we can make choices on the board, but you've already decided for me that I never get to choose. Like, yeah, I never have another voice on the levy. I think that's the rub here. So, for the people I talk to. So it's like
And I
kind
just,
of like marriage, you know, continue forever.
never die.
He said that. So,
Just kidding.
Hubert hasn't passed a levy in 20 years.
But they're not going to Huber. People I've talked to have expressed the same thing
Have
that
they?
you've talked about, Mike.
And we probably haven't talked to the same people, so.
Probably not.
No, I'm just
So,
saying that's good.
yeah, so everybody I have talked to has said 5 years, don't want a continuous. We already have like 5 continuous levies that people aren't even aware of anymore because they've been around, you know, they don't ever come before them again. So yes, everybody that I've talked to has said, keep it continuous. We support you.
5 years.
Or 5 years. We support you. We like what you're doing. But 5 years.
I can see it. I mean, I can see both sides, and I can see the people we have now. It's just I'm not a risk taker, it's the unknown people that coming in is what worries.
I mean, both sides are valid. I'm just, I like to put things on that I can win.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I said. I'm not a
Right,
risk
right.
taker, so I just don't wanna miss the boat and
Right.
then.
And
and
But
then
you'll
we
miss the
can't-
boat if it's continuing and it goes down. I
Right,
mean,
I mean, it's a
like
double sword.
that's like cutting off your nose to spite your
Mhm.
face, you know?
even though we have another shot at it, I just don't want to go into November
Yeah. Right.
And the
with
stats
my last
show,
pitch.
yeah, that we don't do well in November. We
Right.
do well in May, but we don't do well in November.
Oh,
Or
hopefully-
the last
Yeah.
Historical.
votes that historically that shows that November's not a good time to do it. So. And
What
I-
you got? Would you thoughts? Natalie?
So
I know how you
I
think
just
of
did a little survey too of people that I talked to, and you know, when you talk about a renewal of
what we have already. It didn't seem like status quo was good. There was no qualms, but you start talking different year length or, continuous, they kind of get a little nervous. They're not really sure what all that entails, and it kind of makes it a bigger thing for them. So, I think everybody I talked to, of the 10 to 12 people I reached out to, some are retired, so they don't even actually have to pay that earned income.
Yeah, they don't pay it, but they
but
still
they'll
want the right to
still
choose.
support. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and they'll support where we are today, is what the feedback I got. So the 5 years. Was what my takeaway was as well.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
yeah, I mean, I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, my personal opinion doesn't really play into this so much as that I want to make sure that we have the funding we need for the schools. So I would rather have 5 year in hand for sure. And I mean, nothing's for sure. Then I just have questions about the tax funding we're gonna get from 2.0. I don't really have a lot of confidence or faith in the government to the south of us. And I don't want the township people to pick up the tab for 2.0 in perpetuity when the new people coming in don't want to vote for it.
Yeah, no.
So, I mean, I want to make sure that our school is funded because that they're putting that burden upon us. I don't know that we're gonna get as many kids from 2.0 as we got from 1.0, given the starting price and that sort of
Right, which we
thing.
talked about.
Yeah, I
I
wanna fund a school. I mean, we don't have problems with funding our extracurriculars and making sure we have all the fun stuff in our family, but when it's time ponying up for education in the way of taxes or levies, sometimes we don't have money for it. I get that, but I'd rather have a 5 than not have
And I-
continuing,
And I think, like, as kids move in, right, you still get some money from,
right?
right, and they'll pay the 5 years of the income tax, and I think I talked to some people that testified the other day for the fair funding formula, and I think that they're going to fund that again, which is good for us.
I hope so, yeah.
You know, I
We
think that
need
they're
that.
gonna fund it.
Yeah.
I mean, as is for all in, I think they'll fully fund it. So I'm like, if that's the case, and part of this too is, on me, if this is the course you're going, then I gotta talk to Jeff, the Mayor Huber, and make sure that, we are on the same page. I know,
Yeah,
but and the developer, I gotta make sure Bill, Jeff, me, that we're all understanding what it is that we wanna do here. Cause we can all talk the game, but when, rubber hits the road, where we at?
I've been to too many meetings and heard too many, well, we'll pass it like this, but if we don't like it, we'll change it from the south. And it is one-sided, it's taxation without representation. As far as we're concerned, we've never had a voice one way or another, how this affects us. We've just been the victim in this game, so I don't want us to fall and to come up short. And as we look at these really exciting times to build these new programs and to really get focused on the passion of the coming generation and what's going to drive their success, I don't want to be short funded,
No, I agree. I mean, I see
And,
these kids every day. They're great kids. Talk to them
yeah.
all.
Smart and,
I mean, I don't want to leave
You're good.
any money on the table either,
No.
or take it away.
Yeah.
They have it, and then we have to take it away because now we don't have the funds.
So, yeah, I throw in with the 5, though it's not my personal thing. But of course, I'm old, I won't be around very long. My forever is only 15 years, maybe,
Oh, don't say that.
And hopefully you get to retire.
I doubt it.
And then if the new people do come in with lesser kids, yes, the property value is an argument, but then also maybe they don't really care then if they fund this or not, because it doesn't truly affect them other than if their property goes down. I don't know.
But I would think if you move to Bethel as opposed to Dayton or Huber, that
Or another development.
Or another-
Yeah. I mean,
you are going
You're
to
coming here for.
a reason.
Yeah.
And you want to, you have a nice house and you want to,
Good property value.
rise in value, and you want to appreciate all those things, right? And
Mm-hmm.
to me, that just makes common sense. You know, if I wanted a cheap house, I'd go to, inner city Columbus, I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thought process.
Right.
But, you want a house that appreciates, and so where does it go? School districts, and I think if people are gonna come in here, I don't think anybody buys a house to see it appreciate.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just saying, but I mean, the school district is it is probably the most prominent factor in real estate. I mean, there's
Especially
a
in the-
reason.
And then to make the school district attractive, we have to offer those other programs. And if then we don't have the money for the programs, then we can't offer the stuff that would attract them here. Because right now, we're attracting them because it's a small school, it's rural, they get the best of both worlds, those types of things. But another subdivision comes in, another development, they keep going north. and
People are
south.
selling land here
Mhm.
in Bethel.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, people are selling
They're
land.
selling their.
left and right, and they're approaching the developer to sell more.
Mhm.
And then at some point, we are the same size as some of those other schools, and if we can't keep up with what makes them attractive to come here, then.
Well, I mean, you gotta understand, like I mentioned this last time, we are basically as big, if not bigger than Tip. We're almost as big as Troy, we're almost as big as Pickle. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you wouldn't have thought that, but it's coming.
Yeah,
And, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you have more things for kids to do, more offerings as you get bigger. But, I mean, the location of this alone was sitting next to I-70 and 2 state routes and accessibility to Columbus and
Yeah.
Dayton. I mean, just the growth.
That's what attracted CT2 is the 70-75 interchange, so we might have commuters, we might have people that are just
So,
working here because they're in the city.
yeah. But, yeah, and that's the reality of it. That's the discussions I've had. I mean, appreciate the feedback. I just want to make sure that, we make the right choice for the community. And you guys are the voice of the community. I'll carry out your will, but, I don't technically live here, right? But, I care what you all think, so.
I like to play the odds. I'd rather pass
Yeah.
something.
Andy, anything?
I appreciate during the public participation, more of a discourse of the reasoning for or against the continuing. And so I appreciate Julie giving some reasons. Last meeting, it just felt like more like, well, a threat. If you don't do what you want, we're gonna threaten to shoot you down. Like, well, I wanna hear your reasoning. I know you're opposed to it. I wanna know why. So, I said before that in the past, previously, I would have been against the continuing. And I can see the desire for it, but after the meeting last month, there was a post in the Elida page that I was like, no. You need to have checks and balances. We're doing good things. They're gonna pass. You need to have checks and balances for when it's not going good and things keep going the wrong way. And just keeps going the wrong way. You need another check and balance. So I'm back to 5 years.
All right. Well. I mean,
Well, I said that last month too. I said, oh, I think there's wisdom in passing the 5 year now just to get it done. And then continue
Right.
like years down the road, maybe talk about it, but
see where you're at.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a big decision, right? And I just want to make sure that we all had that discussion, talk through it. I don't disagree with anybody. I just, like I said, give me something I can pass.
So would we still do the campaigning and
Oh, yeah.
still do all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we don't take anything for granted. People need to know why, though, right?
Right.
This is why,
Absolutely.
this is what used to drive me crazy when districts would do that. Well, it's a renewal, we don't need it. Well, guess what? You do need to,
Right.
because I don't care if it passes 99%. Yes, good. We did a nice job getting the message out. But I mean, I think when you do stuff like that, I think you're just trying to run it under the radar. And that makes people mad.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, they get wind of it, they come out and vote no just because you're mad. You didn't tell me about it, you know, that kind of stuff.
For
And I-
sure.
And I get it. That's human nature, you know.
That's what you said last week, they vote feelings. They
Yeah.
vote with their
Yeah,
feelings.
voting's emotional.
Yeah.
I've said that for decades. It's an
Mhm.
emotional response to that. You know, everybody, you know, some people may not pay what for it, but the majority of people that walk in there, it's at $1.60 a day, right? I love this place. I can do it. You know, place, I hate that place. I'm gonna give them a percent of my money. No, you know, I mean, that's what it is, you know? And if you can, and even the people that have voted, that have told me they voted no on levies before, we'd had this conversation, right? It was a very civil conversation as to why. And I'm, okay, I get it. But, you know, at the same time, I think you campaign, my philosophy is you campaign as hard for a renewal, 5-year renewal, continuing renewal, or even a new, you wouldn't notice the difference in the amount of effort put forth. Because you should put the same effort, because you owe it to the people to explain why you need what you need, and why we do what we do. And if anything, I tell people all the time, I said, you know, run a school district like you're running a levy every day.
Mhm.
You know, don't be nice for 6 months, you know, 6
Right.
weeks before and then, oh, you know, we need your money. That's another thing that drives people crazy.
Exactly, that's what
You know,
we're here.
We are stuck in the position, you know, as I laugh about this, because, you know, I can't pass increases of the district on the consumer. You know, I mean, gas prices go up, we make groceries more expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I never see that, you know, but we have kids. So I'm in the business of the kid business, but as prices go up for diesel, electric, gas and everything else, I'm not getting more money for the kid.
No.
You know, so I'm like, all these expenses go up and I'm still, you know, I gotta pay this. And I'm like, but with that being said, that's why, you know, you always tell people, you gotta tell your story, don't let other people tell it for you, but you gotta run a district like you run a levy, because, you know, like I said, we don't pass the cost on to the children, but, you know, at the end of the day, you know, stuff gets more expensive and I can't can't charge a kid to come to school.
Right.
So I just think that's the business we're in, right? Stuff will continue to go up. And it's a spending cycle, right? Why do we always go back to the voters? You know, years after years after years, well, it's a cycle you can't break because, you know, everything costs more. But having no way to pass that on.
Right.
So that's what they do. But with that being said, doesn't mean, oh, good, we're just gonna go spend all the money and ask for more 2 years. No. Have the budget, you know, it's 5 years, okay, plan for it. You got money coming in, you got the funding for it. You got a lot of those moving pieces but you got a plan. You know, I mean, from the little things to the big things, you know, don't have $40,000 in your budget in May and go spend it on Post-it notes because you want to spend it. That drives me nuts. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Think about it. Thoughtful purchases, thoughtful planning, and you tell people why you need it, what you're doing with it. Don't see a problem. That's people want to be heard and want to be understood. You need to be able to answer your question why.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So just to put it out there, you know, I want it to pass, right? You know, that's the primary thing. And when I made the suggestion to the previous board to do continuing, there were 2 reasons. You've got a substitute emergency levy that's up in 27. Brings in about 400,000+ for operating expenses. So, you know, in my world, from a financial standpoint, I would rather reduce that than to, you know, increase, you know, I would rather reduce that than renew it for the full price, for the full millage, if possible. If we get the full funding from the state, you know, and we're fully funded and that looks good, and you got your income taxes guaranteed forever, continuously, right? Then you can reduce property taxes when those come up. But without that, well, but you can, but you can't do that if it's only 5 years, right? Because we're seeing our our community change, right? The demographics are changing, but I get it. I want it to pass, so 5 years makes sense. It's just when that emergency levy comes up for renewal, then my recommendation is probably gonna be, we need to just renew it, or, you know, look at ways, that we're gonna need to keep that money in place, but of course, that's all contingent on the millennium budget as well, and whether or not the fair school funding plan is put in place, but, yeah, so, earned income tax, nobody likes taxes, nobody thinks taxes are fair, but I always think that earned income taxes are more fair than a property tax, because a property tax doesn't care how much money you make or how you make it, you just pay more.
Yeah.
And I've been searching for a home, as we all know. And Miami County is, in demand, especially in this area, because the taxes are low. So I get it when the community says we're paying too much, but you're really not compared to other parts of Miami County. And certainly not compared to some of the, like Huber Heights, just over that one little line, there's a big increase in your property taxes. So, yeah. So, but I get it. I understand, either way. So if we want to guarantee, we can't guarantee anything again, but 5 years is fine. Yeah, that's what we need to do to get it to pass. It's just when we look at those demographics, that scares me. So in 5 years, what's it gonna look like? It's gonna be less township residents and more, carriage trail. 1, 2, yeah,
And other areas,
in other areas that are coming, and so,
because they're coming.
yeah.
And that's all I'm saying is about the status quo now will be fine,
Mhm.
but it's not gonna be the same.
It won't be the same,
And
right?
everything is changing.
Mhm. It's very different now than what it was 5 years ago,
Mhm.
so, yeah.
No, I met with a guy today that was from Russia.
Yeah.
We had a long conversation. I mean, interesting. Understand why he's here.
So what I'm hearing is I move forward with the resolution at 5 years.
I think that's.
I think
the
that's
same,
the
but-
consensus.
Okay. Then that's what I'll do, and I'll have that on the agenda in December for next week, right? This
Yeah,
is December,
December.
for next week, December 17th.
That's great.
For next week.
It'll be December.
Yeah, one of the other things I forgot to mention that's gonna be on next week that Mike and I have been working on, I didn't know if you got your list or not. The science of reading stipends.
Yes, I do have my list. Mindy sent it to me today.
Okay,
So
so, just want the board to pass a resolution giving me the authorization to pay the science of reading stipends, at 1,200 and 400 respectively,
it's
based
going,
upon,
it's going to be approximately $88,000.
Yeah.
We get reimbursed from the state.
right, hopefully, yeah, so. That's also gonna be on the agenda. So today was the day we were supposed to get the list, so,
Yeah, and
um,
I got the list today.
so it's on
Mindy sent
the
it over to
agenda.
me today.
Sure did. There's a resolution, but I don't have the names, but we'll see about adding the names, so.
So yeah, that'll be on, we'll get that on
Tuesday.
and then get them paid. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's something to talk about, yeah.
Have we heard anything more about or talked any more about the excess that we have in our food service budget and
Yes,
what
I'm
type
glad you brought that
of
up.
needs there might be there?
So I sent an email today, because I was waiting to talk to Tina. You saw the email,
I have.
Tuesday.
Mhm.
We're gonna meet with them Tuesday
Tuesday at
afternoon,
1,
1:00.
yep. I have some ideas, I'm sure those ladies have some ideas.
So do I.
as well. Yeah, we all have ideas.
Full of
whatever we
ideas.
call it.
And I talked to them.
Call 'em.
I talked to them, too.
Yeah, I don't know what their ideas are, so
Yeah,
we'll
man.
see.
They're not bad, but yeah, I said, we're not, I told them about food service.
Don't make teachers pay for
Don't make.
No, you know what we're doing? We're gonna make it like a food court.
Okay.
Kidding, Julie.
And are we close to that grant that does the free lunches and maybe free breakfasts or
Oh,
something?
you're talking about CP.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I think the last time I looked, we were
Close.
close, but just a tad bit over 40%. I have to go back and look at the latest numbers. We just uploaded, not uploaded, submitted, our latest student enrollment and teacher data. So I have to, get with Jennifer when she gets back in and talk to her about that, so.
So that's something we'll look into. too.
I just asked Jennifer too, for the last 10 years of enrollment.
Yeah,
To tell you,
no, she didn't tell me that.
reporter's gonna do an article, just so you know. They
Who?
called me. There's a reporter in the news.
William Lutz, I hope.
Yeah, I think it was.
I love him. Yes, he's.
Yeah, he's a real reporter.
He's awesome.
I think that was what, he was on email.
He's not thinking this.
Oh, yeah, he just gives you,
The facts.
it gives you the facts and lets you make up your mind, but he's, oh, so fair.
I'm sure it's
wonderful.
him.
Yeah, I follow,
Yeah, he's been.
I was
on a
coming
lot
from,
of,
I was coming
civic
from,
capacity, I think is the
Mhm.
name.
yeah, I was coming from Bendy's room, because we were talking about stuff today on the way back here, then to meet Shelley at 3. And that email came up. And I had asked Jennifer for the last 10 years, but enrollment. So I'm curious, well, I know what it is now, but I'm curious. But anyway, he wanted to have that discussion, so,
Oh, I hope it is.
Yeah, he's
but I had asked her for
He's
those 10
great.
years for that reason.
Yeah,
Did not reach out to him.
Yeah.
I don't know about any data prior to 22, so we'll have to look.
Yeah. We could find it somewhere. So. And I think,
I think that's what I've got for next week. Is there anything else I forgot for you?
no,
Okay. So I have the resolution on there, I just have to get the list, so.
So we have to do 2 resolutions, you said, so
Yes.
what's next week's resolution, what does that do?
the income tax resolution, earned income tax.
Right, but I thought it was like 2 parts.
You gotta do another one in January.
So
We have to do 2 readings,
Two
right?
readings.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 readings,
Yeah,
oh,
2
not 2
readings.
separate
No, no, no,
resolutions.
it's like 2
Oh, oh,
readings.
I got
No,
you.
you have 2 separate resolutions, there's one that needs to pass in December,
And then one to pass.
that gives us the authorization to proceed,
And the-
right?
the one
And,
filed.
and then, yeah, as a resolution of necessity and then to proceed is the one in January.
Okay.
And so I have to file both resolutions and the certification from the state with the auditor, with the Board of
Board
Elections,
of Elections.
but before January 24th.
So next
For
week,
me,
Yes, okay,
so next week, we're all agreeing by resolution that we need the money.
correct.
And then January, we're saying, yes, go ahead and. send
File
over to
everything,
file, so we can
yeah.
put it on the ballot.
Mhm. Yes, so there
But
will
it's for
be
this, but it's for the same.
both
purpose.
for
Yeah, but it's the same,
5-year
yeah.
renewal of the income tax at 0.75%. Yeah. And then you'll have the resolution for the science of reading. So if everything goes well, everyone will be we will get reimbursement for every single stipend, plus employer costs. So
Right, that's
that
what they
was,
said.
yeah, that's one of the things that I sort of talked to Aaron Roush and some other, what about the employer costs? Cause you know, every dollar you pay an employee, you're paying an additional 16.75% in just employer costs roughly. So they're gonna pay us back for most of that, not all of it, like the retirement and Medicare, but not workers' comp and, you know, but that's okay. So better something than nothing. But we'll discuss when and how and all that.
We will,
Yeah.
it'll be fun. Good conversation.
Did you say fun or fine? It'll be fine.
It'll be fine,
Yeah, okay.
not only will it be
Fun.
fun, it'll be fine, it'll be all fine.
He forgets what department he runs.
No, he doesn't.
All right, no problem. We'll have a discussion, so.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't have anything else.
I'm good.
And that's.
Julie, will you help run the levy campaign with me?
Maybe.
Yeah, all right. I'm good, I got nothing else. I got nothing else.
Did you want her to speak up so we get it captured on the recording?
No, she just said she may or may not be allowed. I don't,
Oh,
Is it-
oh.
I don't know.
I got
Oh,
it.
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Trust us.
It's fine. No, no, no.
All right, then, we're all good, right? No
Mhm.
more. Okay, so then can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move.
I'll second. Any more discussion? Will you take roll, please?
Mrs. Leskowitz?
Yes?
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue?
Yes.
Mr. B?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiplinger?
Yes.
6:39.
Yes, look at us.
We're showing, we're gonna start doing videos on YouTube about how to do a board.
Hey,